brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It sips, suds, and smokes with your smoking host, the good old boys. Suds, suds, suds. It's time for more suds.
Hello, friends. It's time to wrap up our 12th season of Suds segments.
12.
Today, we're going to look back at some of the best moments from this past year. I'm one of your hosts, Good Old Gal Juliana, and joining me today is Good Old Boy Kendall.
Wow, that's a lot of years.
Good Old Boy Carl.
I think I only have 12 pairs of underwear.
Good Old Boy Mike.
That's more fingers than I have.
And Good Old Boy Dave.
I have exactly that many fingers.
So we're going to play clips and previous episodes and offer a little commentary around them. And just because it's us, we're also going to be sipping a few of our favorites because...
Of course.
It's us.
Everything we're covering today was rated a 5, just like me. We won't play the full discussion on each of these, but you can check the show notes to find the full episode for each of our top picks.
Okay, let's get going. Do you want some ED drugs with that cider?
Oh, this is a great episode.
This is a really hard question.
It was the Cidre Dupont Réserve 2016 traditional cider matured for 6 months in Calvados casks.
Long.
Okay, speaking of some good cider.
Hard.
We need to get back to our core topic,
Yeah.
cider.
Let's go to the Dupont Reserve
Cidre Dupont.
from Domaine Dupont,
Dupont.
in Victot-Pontfol,
Yeah,
France.
sounds good.
6.9%
Sounds like
ABV.
something's caught in your left nostril.
Jeez. So the family Dupont family, the Famille Dupont family estate consists of 74 acres of orchards in Normandy. And they've been doing this for a very long time. They also produced Pommeau, am I saying that right? As well as Calvados. And,
Those are varieties of apples.
okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
I think this episode showed why the French hate Americans.
Just
And
one
isn't
of
it-
many reasons.
Yeah.
Isn't it Calvados?
Is it?
Yeah,
Calvados?
Calvados. Yeah.
I always say Calvados.
That sounds like avocados.
Yes, I know. That is correct. It's a slut. It's a southern slang.
slut?
Yeah.
It's a slut. I think it's just a
You
thing
know,
with a nut in it.
I remember that girl
So, I guess-
Calvados. She was such a slut.
Look, I love this cider. And every time somebody says, Mike, what is your very favorite cider of all time? DuPont,
It was one of the
DuPont
best
Reserve
ciders,
is
yeah.
just hands down the best thing that I've ever had. And I've had a lot of great cider.
If you're
And
going to a cider party, like I don't
You
even
should
know if
just
that's a
pick this
thing,
up.
just take that.
But you need
Oh
to
my
bring
gosh,
this.
yeah.
Yes.
And it was great that we had it on the show.
Wait, there are cider parties?
Sure. Oh yeah.
Underground. Cider
Yeah.
product.
Deep insider.
Underground.
Great start.
Yeah, it's like a punk show. It's in some basement somewhere.
Oh, boy. Okay.
What's next, JB?
Moving on. Dukers, our favorite. It's the dead guy, Maibock, 6.8% ABV from
Classic.
Rogue.
So I was thinking this is one of the greatest albums of the 90s and really made a name for Green Day in the 90s. So I went with a beer that also was kind of birthed in the 90s and grew legendary, and that is Rogue's Dead Guy Ale.
It's such a good beer, dude.
Yeah.
And, it plays along with the kind of somber, grungy thing with the skeleton, but he's also kind of fun. He's holding a beer. He's having a good time.
He's having a good
and I thought
time.
it just really pairs well with 90s
a
craft
happy
beer
dead guy.
with 90s beer.
Cool.
And also a beer that has stood the test of time. 30 years later, we're still drinking it.
Very true.
So that was from one of our beer club episodes with good old boy Kendall, shorter format episodes where we all listen to an album and we each pick a beer that we thought paired well with that album. And that was good old boy Kendall's pick.
Yep, and we're drinking it right now too, and I still love this beer.
Still great beer.
It's such a classic, wonderful beer.
Yeah.
And maybe slightly off topic, but what they've done with their can rebranding has also been awesome.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely.
Focusing in on the skeleton guy who's having a great time.
The dead guy.
They really, and matte black cans. They really brought something from the 90s current into today's market.
Very iconic. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really tough to stand the test of time, with one style beer, and especially with Maibock, where, there are probably, a couple hundred Maibocks that easily have been produced over this period of time. This beer has stood the test of time.
Especially in the American
fantastic
market.
beer.
The U.S. craft beer market.
I think a lot of it has to do with the guy on the front. That skeleton dude is what sells this beer.
Non-threatening. Yeah.
He's like the old school king of grunge. Yes, for sure.
I think he's very threatening.
I think it's because I think you guys slept there on site. That's what really happened that make this work, right?
I did sleep at a rogue facility one time.
Yes, you did.
They do have an inn, folks. I did not sleep in a tap room.
I passed out behind Black Abbey once. I'm not bragging about it.
You too?
Yeah.
Oh, those pumps are so good.
Wow. Okay, moving on. You are treating your body like an amusement park.
Great episode.
Oh my gosh. It was all about the Wiseacre.
I will tell you that I love this pack. Before we even get into it, I seek this pack out when I'm going to parties for two reasons.
Okay.
One, it's Tennessee local.
Yeah.
Two, it's a great pack of lagers and craft lagers.
Yeah.
And so it is always something just very approachable. I can, bring to a party. I know I'm bringing something good, and it's kind of, it's something that's approachable for most people, especially Mike, like you were saying, you have people that are afraid of hops,
This is definitely for a lot of that beyond Budweiser crowd. Is how I would describe this. The thing that I like about this particular choice is having Tiny Bomb in any variety pack. I am totally in. So I consider the Tiny Bomb American Lager from Wiseacre is like one of the top 5, standard pilsners for American craft. Great beer.
Right. So this was part of the Wiseacre Lager Life variety pack. We were doing an episode on mixed 12 packs. And Wiseacre knocked it out of the park. Like everything in that mixed pack was just perfect.
It's just so good.
For the summer life.
The Memphis Sands is one of my favorite beers. And if you're in Memphis, you can buy a 24 pack of 16-ounce cans. It's pretty great. And they just won a GABF Gold for Skydog. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's they are
good for them.
Still
really
kicking it out of the
nailing it
park.
on the lagers.
Yeah.
Memphis has the softest water in the United States. It's
Really?
softer than Pilsen. So the water in Memphis is perfect for making this style of beer.
Oh, wow.
And Wiseacre absolutely crushes it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that we, went through the variety pack because there are just so many great beers that are really, they're producing on a repetitive basis. But I'm sorry, I'm just going to say the same thing. Tiny Bomb is just the all-time Pilsner
bomb.
reference.
All right.
towards
Yeah.
great
So
beer.
Memphis,
So,
lagers, barbecue, stabbing.
yeah, for sure.
Oh, and
Best thing in
And
Memphis,
Elvis, yeah.
the best thing you can do in Memphis is go to a bar called the Slider Inn and get a Jameson slushy.
Wait.
You're welcome.
Interesting.
Called the what?
The Jameson slushy.
Slider Inn.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Okay.
Two ends.
Next, road
can't wait
tripping
to
with
get this.
Mike. The Say No More Lager from Hudson Valley, which we happen to be drinking today.
I'd love to talk about Beacon a lot more, and there's a lot more to tell, but I want to spend some time and talk about Hudson Valley itself. Great brewery. I had 12 beers to taste while I was there. They were all stunning, and even a lot of styles of beer that I don't like, I thought were very well made. And I just, it blew me away, the level of quality of everything that I had there. And I could not wait to see what I could take home and package. And the ratio between what was available on tap and what you could take home for packaging was only about a third of the beers that were on the tap list were even available to take away in packaging. So I will tell you that one of those beers that was not available at the tap room was this beer that we're having. I'm going to let Juliana tell everybody what it is.
Interesting. So Say No More is only 5% ABV. It is a black lager brewed with Tettnang and Saaz hops.
So there's also, right before this, a very good Mike story about elderly people on the highway.
This is one of the strangest moments I've had with beer acquisition, where this guy was traveling down this treacherous 2-lane road, in town, and it literally just drifted off into the weeds. It was a very strange moment, but oh my gosh, this beer, I just absolutely love it. Even having it today, it's fallen off a little bit, but it just reminds me of how good a black lager really can be.
Amen.
And I just, when I had this, I was like, wow, this is like cold brew in a can. Just, it's just perfectly balanced. I was so grateful when I found this in a package that I got to take back with us and share with everybody back here. And even today, I still love this beer so much.
Yeah. And, actually, I think you brought me a can of this.
I did.
Which I'm from upstate New York. So the Hudson Valley is my stomping ground. But this brewery opened after I had moved away. And I was just so grateful to see beer coming out of basically my hometown that's just absolutely crushing it.
It's absolutely really good. So.
I just like that Juliana kind of found this place, and then we brought some beers back, and Mike fell in love with some of their like sour IPAs and stuff, and like that made him sort of at some point a few years later make that part of a cool road trip he had with his dad.
It's awesome. I still love these beers. Yeah.
Well,
Wait, everything's
Mike
worth
a beer.
Yeah, everything's worth a great.
There's one. Yeah,
everything's worth a great trip, and I love the fact that Kendall and I actually got to visit the same place.
And I'll be there in a few days. Actually,
for this next beer that hit our best of.
Okay, the original 3-way, Fresh Picks R&D Italian style Pilsner. Right before the break, we started talking about from the R&D series, their Italian Pilsner, which is a 5% ABV Italian Pilsner. And
I just asked Kendall, do you go to Italia and get these hops?
Banned.
Or do you ship hops across the world?
Yeah, that is pretty amazing. They're getting Italian hops. I'm not aware of many varieties of Italian hops that would work for something like this. So it's really cool because, most hops are coming from a little bit farther north. So these must be grown, I'm guessing, up towards the Alps.
Venice.
Ericli
is a small city and commune in the metropolitan city of Venice.
Well, that's where they're grown to malt, right?
That was the hops, I thought. Oh, no, you're right.
Oh, it is the malt.
You're right. I'm sorry.
But either way, fantastic beer. I just love this beer. It's one of my favorite they've got on right now.
I just had to include Mike's crappy Italian accent.
of course.
I thought that was the best part of the story.
That was funny.
I thought the best part was Drew getting it wrong.
Yeah. Well, that was good too. That was good.
Great beer.
Love these guys. Sonder out of Cincinnati is now my new favorite Cincinnati brewery. And I love some of the others that are there, but they're just doing some really cool things.
I think it's the best Italian Pilsner made outside of Italy.
It's the best Italian Pilsner I've had in the past couple of years.
Good.
Really well done.
Really well done.
And last but certainly not least, you need to touch it to taste it. This is the Pumpkin Spice Walla Latte, 10W40.
A good pumpkin beer?
Shocking.
It's beautiful.
This is nice.
Yeah.
This is nice.
This is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, this...
And it's not just because it's compared to everything else that we've had so far.
No, it is complex. The spice is balanced with the stout. The stout has its own character shining through. It's got a dryness to it. Yeah.
Soothing to me right now.
Very soothing. But soothing on many levels, because, okay, this is when pumpkin is done right. Because it's a stout, which we can all agree because of the dark color. And they make a good stout to begin with.
Yeah, the 1040 is always really good.
Yeah. Okay, we're rating this one a 5.
Yeah,
Heck yes,
absolutely.
son.
Now, for those of you that are trying to catch up, this is the Highwire Spicewalla Pumpkin Latte 10W40.
In a world where we drink a dozen pumpkin beers or so,
Such a bad idea.
Yeah.
it was nice to actually have something.
It was a rough show, and I hate pumpkin beers. Everybody knows how much I hate pumpkin beers. I like this beer. Highwire did a really good job. It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
We've brewed a couple of collabs with them, and they are such good dudes, and I'm so glad to know them, and absolutely heartbroken about what's happened with them with the floods and whatnot, but they've been great.
Yes. Well, that's going to end it for us.
Hey, this is good old boy Mike once again with one of my best of picks for season 12 for coffee. I'm sorry we didn't really get to broadcast enough coffee episodes in season 12, and we had some great episodes, and I hope that we'll be able to get back to doing some more of those in season 13. My top pick for season 12 is going to be from Guatemala. This is from a state called Finca Vista Hermosa, which is a well-known estate in Huehue that, produced a lot of good Cup of Excellence, coffee lots in the past. This particular version is the reserve lot, and they only made this available for a very short period of time in the last year. And I had a chance to be able to pick some of this up. Now, I've had, coffee from this estate, quite a bit over a very long period of time. But the first time that I'd had this reserve lot, and everything really just kind of got kicked up exponentially. I think probably the flavor profile, from this that I enjoy most of the time is there's a nuttiness that's kind of a overtone, almost like walnut that's dusted, with just a touch of some kind of sugar, it really just has this very unique, flavor profile. It's a bit floral, kind of on the nose. But the acidity in this, really has almost like a sweet lemon, almost like an Italian lemon, kind of, overtone to it, and really a fabulous, cup of coffee. So I would certainly say if you ever see that up on the board, maybe as a daily choice, or maybe just for a very limited period of time at your favorite roaster, or, reach out to your favorite roaster and actually request this bean. So again, it's Guatemalan, Huehue, Finca Vista Hermosa. It is the reserve lot. So, be sure and check that out. I think you'll be really happy with that. Even if you don't see the reserve lot, I would tell you to embrace, the coffee from this estate, either way, but, definitely the reserve lot caught my best of attention for season 12. For now, this is good old boy Mike asking you to keep on sipping.
Hey, and we're back, and this is our best of the year show. So we're the Sips crew, and we're going to be talking about our best whiskey picks for 2024. We're going to start with Brent. What was your pick of the year?
Oh, this was unanimous. It was the Brown-Forman King of Kentucky, the 16-year, 130.4 proof. It's
awful stuff. Awful.
Yeah, I think when we tasted it, everybody said like, oh, if we could all have this as our pick of the year for sure,
It's either this or Arcane.
Oh, yeah. No. Barely beat that out. No. But this is everything you want in a whiskey and in a bourbon, and it's just beautiful. It's so mouth coating. All the flavors are there, the vanilla, the tobacco, the wood, the leather, the spices, and it just coats your mouth. It gives you that big Kentucky hug. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is probably up there. I mean, one of the best whiskeys I've ever had. And that says something, I mean, look how many we've tasted.
I was going to say, yeah, as much as you drunk.
So
I'm not even talking about the show. So yeah, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good one. Anything else sort of struck your fancy? Maybe a runner-up?
Yeah, I have a runner-up. I have the Bernheim Kentucky Straight Wheat Whiskey, barrel proof, the A224. We tried that. That was like a new product. And that's one that really caught my fancy. Loved it. I mean, I might have picked that one if this one hadn't come along.
All right. Well, we're going to go. Harm's pick was the Old Pulteney 21. So we're going to play a clip from that episode when he was talking.
Green fennel, sandalwood, lemon, orange, licorice. It just keeps coming and coming. Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is crazy.
How soon can you get this, Harm?
Creamy note?
How soon can you get this?
It's Friday.
Skip the mortgage payment by the
I hate to admit it. He's right. There is green fennel.
Yeah, it's all there, dude.
My fennel's always green. What about you?
Man. You can get
I
black
don't have any fennel at all.
Yeah.
None.
I mean, to me, green fennel is redundant. It's like saying
now you can get black fennel too.
I mean, we're recording this in January for broadcast sometime later in the year, but we've already. I'm telling you right now, I've already hit one of my candidates for best whiskey of 2024.
Yeah, right.
Without a doubt. So that'll tell you right there. We were on in January. So
yeah, it's the test of time on that one.
Justin, what was your pick for best of the year?
It was the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Special Release Coy Hill Barrel House 8. This was a firebomb. Unbelievable sweetness, heat, the finish. It goes on for many minutes. It's an all-day sipper.
That's about most words we've got out of him in about 5 years.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed. I'm not even going to poke him or anything. I'm afraid he'll take some of them back. Well, we're going to go. We're going to go and see what Maury picked, and Maury picked the Old Forester Birthday Bourbon. So let's see what he had to say about that one.
It's improved in the glass quite a bit. I mean, I thought it was great when I poured it, and it's only gotten better with a little bit of air. It's really just beautiful. The fruits are juicy. They jump out in the front palate, the oak, the warm cinnamon. I mean, you guys really nailed it on all the notes. And then the finish just goes on and on and on. That sweet tobacco is really neat. The ground cinnamon, the cacao. I just think that it's delicious. Is it the best birthday bourbon ever? I don't know that I could say that, but it's never disappointing.
Cacao?
I think that's what the guy screamed when the F-35 went over his house.
How did we let him get away? How did we get away with that? I don't get it.
Oh, we'll rip on him now.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's true.
Not too late. It's the best of the year show.
Yeah, it's only 9 o'clock at night.
It's the best rip of the year.
So that was, so the Old Forester Birthday, that was Maury's pick. And we actually have a pick with good old boy Mike.
Hey, thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. Every year we have so many wonderful things we get to try here on Sip, Suds, and Smokes, and it seems like there's always, an exceptional product that just kind of jumps out at you. And this year it's from Glenmorangie, and it's the ice cream. It is the tale of ice cream. It's basically remembered by Dr. Bill, and I think that's what I really love about this particular product. It's just really, it's very decadent. It's very sweet. Has an awful lot of peaches and vanilla on it. And part of it is that they actually chose to use a toasted new oak barrel for the first time as a finishing barrel. And, I think for people that are making things in Scotland and, working with new cask is not something that they do on a regular basis. So I really enjoyed the innovation, but more importantly, the finished product was just really amazing. So if you get a chance to try this, I really think it's a great rendition. It's a Tale of Ice Cream, again, by Glenmorangie. My SIPS rating for this is going to be a 5.
Well, it's hard to argue with him on that one, as that really was an excellent whiskey. I got a hold of a sample of that, and really, really delicious. So that's going to take us to my best pick. So my best pick of the year was the William LaRue Weller 2024 release. Always, every year for me, it's the Stag, but this year, that Weller is so good. It's just, it's molasses and toffee, and it just smells dark. But there's just so much, there's so many layers to this thing, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. I think this is, There's been some great Weller, but I think this is one of the better ones I've had in the last 4 or 5 years. This one is really, really top notch. So, that's my best pick of the year, but we had some amazing whiskeys this year as well. I mean, just looking through the list, I mean, that Cavalon Vino Barrique private barrel that we had, that thing was insane. I mean, just so well done. And Jack was very kind to us this year. Not only was that Coy Hill, but we did the twice barreled special release Heritage Barrel Rye. If you remember that,
that was a really good one too. That one's stuck out a lot.
And then we also, that same show, we had the single barrel proof rye, which I'm pretty much convinced, no offense, just stop making Old Never 7. Just make that. Make nothing else. Just make that. That's all you ever need to make again. Barrel proof, leave it alone, single barrel, don't do anything else. And me and Brent will buy pretty much everything you make. So, the Ben Riach 40 this year.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I mean, oh my God. The Jack 10 and 12-year-old, batch 3 and 2. And I can't go without mentioning that last drop 40-year-old 15th anniversary blend. That thing was amazing.
All the last drops we had this year were off the chain.
Well, we did that 32-year-old single malt Irish whiskey too. Yeah. That was good, but that
really good.
But that 40 was just that was
another
up there.
World.
That was up there. That Ben Riach was just ungodly good. I mean, I think Harm was even talking about it. Hold on.
The color is a beautiful dark amber with reddish glints. The nose, it's raisins and a little bit of heat, which was surprising to me at 87 proof. But that was before the air got to it. Now with air, it's gorgeous. It's surprisingly gorgeous. I mean, it's
just gotten better.
It's raisins and plums and cherries and cedar and some little bit of chocolate. On the palate, it's all about stone fruit and hold on.
Yeah, I mean that one was fantastic. So it's been a good year for whiskey, boys.
A great year.
Been a really good year for whiskey. So that's our whiskey picks for best of the year. So let's go over and shift to our wine picks. So Justin, what was your pick for best wine of the year?
So this year I picked the Alpha Omega Cabernet Sauvignon Beckstoffer to Cologne 2018. It's 14.8% alcohol by volume. It's 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, 90% barrel fermented, 10% stainless steel tank fermented, aged 22 months in French oak, 80% of it's new, 20% from a 1-year-old barrel.
What'd you think about it?
It was really complex, but balanced. And those are two really difficult things to pull off. On the nose, I got like lilacs, matchbox, cantaloupe, sawdust, pencil lead, chocolate powder, wet steel, underbrush, pencil shavings. On the palate, it was silky, yet fresh, evolving on fine tannins, lingering to elevated tannins on the finish. Notes of fruit punch, lavender, hints of rosemary, toasted rye bread, uncured bacon, black currant, key lime pie, orange peel, white peach, pomegranate, candied cherry. This place is off the chain. And to balance all those weird notes, wow.
Well, it was definitely, I mean, I was extremely impressed with all of their wines, but it's, it's a Toklon. It's, it's going to be good. And it did not disappoint. So let's see. What did Harm pick? He picked the Catherine Hall Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon 2019. Let's see what he had to say in the episode.
There's a reason I like this wine. I'm just saying. This is all about ripe black fruit, herbs, and chocolate and licorice on the nose. And so beautiful. Earthy, dark, chocolatey, blackberries, graphite. That the tannins are there. You get that beautiful grip. It starts out lush, and then it gives you that good grip that you're drinking something with age-worthy. And the finishes with tobacco and fruit, and it's long. And I could drink this all day. There's a reason I like this wine.
Yeah, it was fantastic wine, and Justin and I went and visited them earlier this year, and had some other wine there that was just as good, if not better. I mean, it's a beautiful winery. If you're out that way, definitely check out the Hall Winery. They have the one in the valley, and then they have the one up on the mountain. So our next pick was from good old gal Denise, and she picked the Pine Ridge Stag's Leap District Cabernet Sauvignon. So
yeah, it should turn into a fabulous wine, and it is. It has that deep, dark garnet red color, which is just so beautiful. And the nose has a really interesting Coca-Cola, aromatic presence. And it's also, for me, a little herbal. And I always love herbal notes. I think I've mentioned this several times today. So the nose is fantastic, but then when you try it and you get these chocolate covered fruits like a deep dark blueberry or a blackberry, and then more herbal notes on the palate. But the kicker is the tea. A teetotaler myself. I love tea. I especially love Earl Grey tea. And to get that note into a wine glass is just amazing. And I've seen Earl Grey itself blended with many things, even though it's not in here. But you get those notes, and I just think that it really balances it out, and it just makes it interesting and delicious wine.
Yeah, that was a good one as well.
Yeah. Remember we went to Napa and we had that Earl Grey champagne? Mm-hmm. That was insane. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't think it would work, but it worked.
Yeah, Chandon.
Yeah.
Her description just makes you want to dive into it.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and our next wine for Best of the Year was Maury, and he picked the Croix Estate 12 Rose Chardonnay. So let's see what he had to say in the episode about that one.
Thank you, Bob. This is a really light, pale straw color. On the nose, I get all kinds of things going on. I've got some citrus. I've got vanilla. I've got creme brulee. On the palate, it's got a beautiful mouthfeel. It's got everything I want in a Chardonnay. It's got some butter. It's got some oak. It's got some vanilla.
You didn't get pear? I got pear too. Everything you said is right. I agree with everything.
I didn't get a lot of pear, but now that you mention it, there's a hint of pear.
It's yellow pears.
I just thought it was delightful. It's got a long finish. It's everything I like in a California Chardonnay. I thought it was well made. I thought it was fantastic. It's really improved in the glass. It was a bit cold when we first poured it. It's warmed up to room temperature. It's had a chance for a little air in the glass. I find this delicious.
Yeah, that one. I mean, all the wines from Croix, and we also went to Croix when we were out in January. And
oh yeah, that was.
I love. It's a little winery. It's sort of like a passion project with Kurt Vange, and the wines were fantastic. But that Chardonnay was the one that stunned me.
Yeah,
because I don't think we had that when we were out there, and all the other wines were really good. But compared to that Chard, it was that thing was far and away just insanely good. And I'm not a big Chard guy, so.
Croix really blew me away. I think that's my favorite Sonoma winery. May not be big, but it's mighty.
Well, that's what I like about it. It's not big. I like the little ones. They're a lot more fun than the big corporate ones. But
and they'll give you a blanket if you're cold.
Yeah, that too.
That's service.
So for me, my pick of the year. Well, I had a couple of runner-ups that I thought were particularly good. The Roy Estate Cabernet Sauvignon was fantastic. I've had Roy Estate once or twice before, and it was always great, but it was fantastic. That was the 2019 cab. And recently, I don't even think this show's went out on the air yet. It's going out, I think, before the end of the year, from Stewart Cellars, their 2021 Napa cab. And it was fantastic, and it was maybe a third of the cost of everything else that was on the table.
Yeah.
I mean, not inexpensive, but wow, what a punch for the money. But for my pick for best of the year, I got to go with the Dow Soul of the Lion. That one was absolutely fantastic. They never miss with that one. They are one of the kings of Paso, and we did that on our Paso Roble show. But we've been doing Dow now for several years. Thankfully, they're kind enough to always share some of their wines with us, and they're always just off the chain great. But that Soul of Lion was fantastic. I mean, 22 months and 100% new French oak, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and Petit Verdot. It was just great fruit and cherries and blackberries and currants and just some nice sage and a little bit of earthiness and maybe a little bit of graphite on it. On the palate, it was just blueberries, tobacco barn, some vanilla, toasted oak. I mean, just so well put together, like they always are. But we also had some other great wines as well. I mean, we had some fantastic wines from the folks at Gargiulo. Love that winery. Love that winery. Ehlers Estate, great wine, fantastic wine. Their 2019 was just picked as the number 2 wine of the year by Wine Spectator,
and well deserved.
Yeah. The Tablas Creek that we did was very interesting from Paso. So it's been a great year, and hopefully 2025 will be a great year as well. So that's our picks for best of the year for best whiskeys and best wines. And that will pretty much do it for us for 2025. And we'll turn this over to the folks at our other studio up in Nashville to give you their thoughts on their picks for best of the year. Take it away, guys.
Hey, this is good old boy Mike once again with a best of season 12 for another Sips category with gin. You know, this is a category that we always love coming back around, and we didn't refresh any of our content on gin this year. That doesn't mean we weren't tasting a bunch along the way, and we've probably had quite a few online reviews as the season's gone by. This particular gin that I'm declaring my best of choice is from Africa. It is Procera Blue Dot Gin. I believe that is the correct pronunciation for Procera or Procera. I've heard it both ways. It is from Kenya, and it really has a unique characteristic on most of the, spices and the flavoring components for this gin are sourced in various parts of Africa. And the thing with juniper is very unique for this particular gin. The juniper they use is from Procera, and it's at a super high elevation in the highland forest of Kinjabi, and it's actually with pixie lime and Swahili orange for additional botanicals around this. They have some other ingredients that come outside the area from Morocco that provide the coriander and the orris root in this. There is some pepper. There's some Asi honey in this. There is cardamom and mace from Zanzibar, and finally pink pepper from Madagascar. So really fascinating blend of flavoring components in this. This is not particularly a cheap gin, but I think it's well worth the money. Definitely drink this neat. I wouldn't bury it in a cocktail. It kind of loses all these wonderful botanical elements that you get to work with. So I would definitely encourage you to find this, seek it out, try it at your favorite bar, and then go pick up a bottle for sure. I think you'll be very happy with this. Well, for now, this is good old boy Mike telling you to keep on sipping.
Hey everyone, this is Man-Made Jeff, also known as the Whiskey Fellow. And one of the most interesting whiskeys I've tried this year is Nearest Green Tennessee Whiskey. One of the reasons I love it is it showcases Victoria Edie Butler's remarkable skills as a master blender. Despite being only 84 proof, Nearest Green can hold its own in a cocktail. However, if you reserve it for mixing, that's going to be a huge mistake. For only $30, you're getting a Tennessee whiskey with real character. It not only earned my bottle rating, but also my 2024 Budget Whiskey of the Year award. Cheers.
Hey, good old boy Mike here with my top sips pick for rum in season 12. A very unusual choice. This is not a product that we were able to review on the show this year. And in fact, it even hasn't made an online review. This product is Old Monk XXX rum. Now, the first thing you're going to be seeing is, I've never seen this before. It comes from India. And while it is widely distributed in and around India itself, it's slowly making its way to other parts of the world as well. So I would tell you to definitely check this out. The other designation on the bottle is very old vatted. And there are several different versions of this, and I'm sure that some of the other versions are equally good. But this one really caught my attention for just how unique it was. So much of the rum that we enjoy here on the show hails from Caribbean island or from Central America. And this particular product certainly has a very unique flavor profile. It's sweet, a lot of vanilla on this. I am probably going to declare this has been adulterated in some way with some adjunct for flavoring purposes, but it is very sweet. It's very dark. It has kind of a coffee overtone to it. So there's a little bit of, floral and bitterness that is on top of this flavor profile. The interesting thing about this product is the price. It's probably retails for about $20 US. So very affordable. And it certainly, if you see it, definitely pick up a bottle and try it out. For now, let's just go to Boy Mike, asking you to keep on sipping.
Welcome to this smoke segment as we cover the best of 2024. You asked for it, and here we are to fool one another again. Tonight, our host is
Benjamin. Did he just call us a fool? Because that's the way I heard it.
Right? Yeah.
I think that's what he said. He said, "Did he say you're the fool or I'm the fool?"
I think he's trying to fool it. Fool me once, shame on me.
I see.
Fool me twice,
Yeah.
never go fool me again.
I'll let him introduce the fools.
Yeah, the foolish are good old boy Mike.
Howdy, I'm here.
And good old boy Benjamin.
How's your dog, Nelson?
Welcome back, folks. We are the best thing on at 2 a.m. right before you wake up with that damn leg cramp again, and just after you fall asleep while watching Jeopardy reruns. I'm talking to you, Janet.
That's the best part of my day is Jeopardy. So,
yeah, that's the old folks' home. We got you locked in. That's far right, though. Our smokes episodes for season 12 were epic. As we covered lots of great cigars.
They were so freaking good.
So many great brands and so many great cigars. We got the joy of being able to smoke. Several of our hosts are going to pick some of their top choice cigars. Some of these will be featured on the show, and some of these didn't make it on air this season, but still a good smoke. And we're just going to kick right into it and let Mike take it away with his one favorite cigar.
Yeah, so I only picked one cigar as kind of my best of. Everybody else had
smoked one.
No, I smoked several, but this particular cigar we did not have on the show, although it is slated for maybe an episode we're going to cover on season 13. It is from Adventura Cigars, and it is the Navigator. Did
you say Ace Ventura?
No.
Bumblebee Tuna?
Bumblebee Tuna.
So the wrapper on this is San Andreas, Maduro, the binder Sumatra, Indonesia, and the filler is Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Nicaragua, and it's aged for 5 years. Sometimes when I read something like this or ran across, kitchen sink is the first thing that runs across my mind. And
you sure it's not woody?
We've had a lot of cigars that, have a lot of things going on, and it really comes down to, is it really have all of this great balance? I loved this cigar, and I just, the first thing that I really was very oily, was leathery, and probably one of my favorite cigars is CAO's Amazon Basin. And this was as close to that same taste profile that I really enjoy out of the Amazon basin. And this is one, you can find this. The price point is about half what you would probably have for Amazon basin. So that's what I really enjoyed about this. The size that I enjoyed is called a Cabral. That's kind of a new term. It's 54 by name? 6. No, I know.
Yeah.
So, but listen, it's a very good cigar. It's an interesting makeup of a retailer out of Switzerland, and hooked up with the guys from the Henderson Ventura is the blender for this from Tabacalera, William Ventura in the DR. And the retailer is Marcel Noble of Switzerland. And so these guys kind of hooked up, to create this line. We've had a lot of things, where the retailer kind of steps into the manufacturing process and you kind of scratch your head and go, I don't know if this is your calling, man. But, I think this is a time where it has worked really exceptional. So I hope you'll definitely check out the Navigator by Aventura Cigars is my top pick for season 12.
Yeah,
second that motion.
Cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good cigar. I don't know that it'd make my list, but it was a good cigar for sure.
That's okay.
Is that because they don't make it in a Petite Lancero?
That's
correct. Right. That's right. If they made it in a Petite Lancero, that'd have been great.
Well, they do make one that's called the Francis D, which is 44 by 6, which is pretty close to a Petite Lancero. So
I'm listening.
Yes.
I think he's more intrigued by Francis's D.
You got me. You got me.
Benjamin, what were some of your top picks, man?
That puts me in the hot seat. So
it does.
I couldn't pick just one, so I've got 3, and these were late season picks for me. These are some sticks that I ran to a little bit later in the year, but very glad that I did. The first one is going to be the Belgian Blue by Crown Heads. We all know and love Crown Heads, especially here. It's a local brand for us. It's a good friend of ours in the industry. So this one is Nicaraguan. It's its country of origin, Mexican San Andreas wrapper, Maduro with Ecuadorian, Nicaraguan, and Dominican Republic binder and filler. This thing is a
awesome,
long, smooth sip, man.
Awesome.
Just all the perfect aged woody tones, the leather tones that you want. Maybe even a touch of like overripe, like stewed berries to it. This thing hits. But yeah, definitely enjoyed this smoke. Definitely something that I will be picking up as long as it's available.
Now, I think this was a new product from Crown Heads this year, right?
It is a brand new product.
It is a new product.
Literally hit shelves maybe a month ago.
Yep. That was about a month ago it came out.
After the Belgian Blue Bull. So it's a breed of beef. But yeah, man, it's a soft box press situation. Nice oily wrapper. And I mean, this thing just stacked dimes all the way through from front to back. Just well constructed. And yeah, I think every time that I've been back in a tobacco shop that has one, I've picked up at least 2.
I think they're a 12 count box too.
Yeah. So definitely one of those, user friendly situations.
Yeah. Under $200 you could get, some good cigars.
Yeah. And then the second one for me is, the Matilde, special edition 2024. Man. So different than the limited release. And I was literally in the humidor at our local tobacconist picking up the Belgian Blue, and our good friend old Nader Salad ran in the humidor and was like, "Hey, wait, you have to smoke this." And I'm like, "Well, I'm smoking both of them, so this is perfect." But this is the Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapped cigar with a Nicaraguan, Dominican, Peruvian binder and filler. Smaller ring gauge, so it's a 6x50. So still a Toro, but that smaller ring gauge. And I think this is probably one of my hands down favorite things about Matilde cigars is it has, if you've ever had any type of seafood dish, or if you've ever had any type of like Cajun dish with the perfect amount of spice, the perfect amount of like cayenne pepper that kind of hits on the back end, but then lights your whole palate up in the best way possible. That's what this smoke was for me. It's always one of those things where like it's a special edition, right?
Yeah.
So get them while you can. But this thing is aces.
Matilda's just got bangers of cigars. All their cigar line is just bangers. And that dude that owns it is salt of the earth, man. Just salt of the earth.
Yeah. I've had some solid sticks from Matilda as well. I haven't had this limited release, but some other ones in their line, really great.
Yeah.
And then last for me is the Intergalactic Event Horizon from Black Label Trading Company. This is a brand that I'm circling back to. The first couple of encounters that I had with them were some sticks that I didn't necessarily enjoy, that had a lot of hype, but I just think they weren't necessarily my palate. But this Intergalactic Event Horizon, this is Desert Island smoke for me.
Really?
Yeah, 100%, man. It's in the right size. So I smoked the Petite Corona, so 4.75 by 46. You're really getting the concentration of that Pennsylvania broadleaf wrapper. And it just, all of the big, bold chocolate, coffee, black pepper, kind of also fruit and raisins kind of scenario. It's the perfect mixture of spicy and sweet, with the Ecuador Habano and Nicaragua binder and filler.
Easy to find this one?
No, not anymore. It's another, like, it's a yearly release, kind of like the Morphine is for them. So yeah, I actually had a heartbreaking moment. I was at our favorite, cigar shop here on the east side of Nashville, and went in, and the box was still there. Right, it was like the last box that they had. The last couple of times I've been in there, they were out, and one of the guys that works there, Brady, was like, "Oh man, there's one more left in here," and somebody had decided to put back a cigar into this box that wasn't the cigar that went in the box, and I was like, "I'm gonna kick over a shelf. That's it." That's it. I'm about to wreck this place.
My favorite thing to do is to play grab bag and just put them back randomly.
Dude, I knew it was you.
Yeah.
You sly fox. But yeah, very big heartbreak. I normally don't cry in public, but I was really close. And if I do find them, this is box worthy. Only share with close friends. But if you find one, smoke it. Smoke it, smoke it, smoke it.
Yeah. No, that's great, man.
That's great. That's as far as I can narrow it down without getting in trouble. So
well, I could talk for days.
Yeah,
about
Parker,
cigars
go over your 7 cigars
that I've got. I actually took one out, but I've got a list of my top 4 now. And I did not expect this one to get on my list. And I just smoked it a week ago. And my God, when I tell you angels from heaven start singing when you light this cigar, you better believe it. So from Foundation, which is one of my rapidly becoming one of my favorite brands now. It's the High Clare Castle series, and this one's called the Senetger. Senetger, Senetger. I was not a good geologist.
Good with the words, we know.
Yeah, but it's to celebrate 100th anniversary of this discovery of the Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamun, his tomb. And so, like, they come in a tomb-shaped box, a sarcophagus box, and it's really cool. Now, it's interesting the way they do things. So their wrapper is a Habano Ecuadorian 7th priming, and their binder is Brazilian Matafina, and they don't disclose the filler, but it's a 6 3/4 by 52. And it's like a perfecto. It's got a, And it's fantastic. And I'd say if you get a chance to get any of these at your local shops, you need to pick them up because this thing smokes slow and low. It doesn't get hot on you. It didn't get any. The flavor changed beautifully throughout it. It was nice and oily, just very consistent. And I was really surprised by smoking it. Have you guys had a chance to smoke any of them?
So I haven't smoked this edition of it, but I smoked the one last year.
Okay.
And could not echo that sentiment anymore, specifically from Foundation perspective. Nick and his team,
fantastic.
Absolute bangers, man. And everything from something that is very price approachable to, all the high end sticks, that you can smoke. But they tend to consistently land somewhere in the middle from that perspective, man. They couldn't be more accessible for cigar smokers. And so if you've been out there kind of looking for a brand that's going to do that for you, it's Foundation Cigars.
Well, we look forward to doing an episode for season 13 coming up, I believe.
Yep.
Season 13. I can't believe it. Next on my list is going to be the Illusion Group of 5, which we did in our blind episode.
Some of us.
And if you haven't got a chance to listen to that episode where Benjamin missed out, just go ahead and circle back and type in your comments, the blind episode, and it'll pop it right up. I can't think of the name of the episode because Mike names them all these funny things, and I don't remember them sometimes.
Did I miss out, or did somebody leave me hanging?
I think that I might have had a few too many drinks and smoked your blind stick by mistake. That's my fault, and I apologize. Yeah. Anyway, so next on my list is going to be Natura Cigars, their first harvest. I don't know if you remember that at all, but they are in a colder climate, and they're all in like a valley. All their stuff is grown in the valley of a cold climate. Man, I can't think of where they're from. But they are just fantastic cigars. Here you go. I got them pulled up right here.
Dominican.
Dominican. They're grown in the mountains of the Dominican Republic at a higher climate, at a higher elevation. And all their greenhouses are open air greenhouses, and they control the watering with the nutrition up there. It's crazy. But I got to talk to them at the PCA, and they had one. They only give us one of these cigars at the PCA, which good. I mean, they only made a few 100 boxes of it. So, but man, this cigar will ever be in my memory. Like, I smoked it in my front porch, just hanging out, and had a good bottle of bourbon with me, and man, it was just a fantastic experience. Like, the cigar itself was an experience, and they're puros. So, and being that colder climate and the soil that is, man, it just makes for a totally different smoke. And if you guys find those in your lounges, it's called the First Harvest. Y'all should pick those up for sure. And lastly on my list is going to be the Peter James by Luciano. You guys remember that from PCA, which is also on the PCA episode. We talked about both of these cigars on the PCA episode, which you can go back in our back catalog and listen to those episodes also. Do you guys remember that one? So Peter James is a leather. He makes leather goods.
Yeah, I think I've got one sitting in my humidor.
Yeah, I believe you do as well. He partnered with him to make a luxury brand, is what they're kind of calling it. But man, that's probably the best thing that Luciano's ever done. And I'm a big fan of Luciano. He makes great cigars.
Can we say it looks like it's in a lipstick box?
Yeah, it does look like eyeshadow, almost. Yeah. But like gold and white. But it's like the luxury. They're going the whole styling for it. So it's like, I wouldn't have thought there was a cigar in that box, but there was, and it was fantastic. And they don't really tell you much about it either. Binder filler wrapper, they don't really tell you much about it. So, but you can listen to what we talked about it on our last back episode for the PCA of 2024. And we're looking forward to doing PCA of 2025 this year in New Orleans. Is that right?
Yes.
New Orleans.
Yeah. And I believe it'll be more than just myself and Rich there this year. So I'm looking forward to that. Have a good time with the boys.
Yeah, New Orleans in July. Can't wait.
Yeah. I thought it was March. Is it July?
I think it's March.
Okay.
Yeah, it's March. Yeah, but speaking of Rich, we've got his top 4 up here too. You guys want to do one? I'll do one. How you want to do this?
I'll start. So the first one on his list was on the wildfire episode. We covered the whole product line, and
Jeremy.
He picked the Hook as one of his top picks.
Great cigar.
And really great line. Should definitely check out our episode where we covered the entire product line from Wildfire, and that was definitely one of the better sticks in the lineup.
Yeah, and then on his next pick was the Crown Heads Coronada Habano, which was the new release this year for Crown Heads. They did a Habano and a Maduro version of it. Both fantastic cigars. I mean, I'm a fanboy of Crown Heads, as we all know, and you know, he makes such great cigars. He's got a really, really good palate, and I love what he's doing. So if you guys get a chance to try those, you guys should definitely try those.
That's truth. And then the last one, we already kind of got into Foundation a little bit. So the last one on his list is the Herbert Spencer by Jake Wyatt Cigars. And actually, I stole one of these out of your humidor, Barger. And,
yeah, I know.
Now you had multiple of them, which is why I chose it. But this thing rocks. Yeah, beautiful San Andreas Maduro wrapper, Dominican binder. And sound like Barger over here.
Can't help it. I just got a tooth pulled.
Yeah. You just can't read, dude. It's okay. We still love you.
I know.
But not only is this a great smoke, man, it's a beautiful cigar. So it's not a classic barber pole, but on the foot and on the heel of the cigar, there's a lighter wrapper that's just kind of makes this like spiral design around, you know, the pole ends of the smoke. And so makes you feel fancy smoking it too, because it's got a little bit of that cool artistic flair and is a real nod to the skill of the people that put these things together. You know, these premium tobacco, man, is handmade, start to finish, and it takes a real. It's a, you know, very akin. It's a trade, right? Like it's a learned skill that takes time to perfect. And they've definitely embodied that and paid, you know, homage to it with that Jake Wyatt smoke.
Yeah, and the Herbert Spencer part of it, do you guys know a little bit about that as well?
I went to high school with Herbert Spencer.
Well, it's a nod to the AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. It's Herbert Spencer's. I don't know. Rich can tell you way more about that than I can, but it's kind of a nod to AA and being sober.
Huh. Interesting choice.
Yeah, which is really cool because, you know, I believe that, you know, the owner of that company is also sober. So, like, it's cool being able to incorporate multiple aspects and avenues into this business, you know.
Herbert Spencer also originated the expression survival of the fittest.
Oh, there you go.
Which he coined in Principles of Biology in 1864.
Ooh.
He was obviously being heavily influenced by Darwin.
Yeah. Oh, Charles.
Chuck,
right.
we call him.
Well, you guys want to take a minute and talk about the state of cigars this year?
Yeah, sure. You know, just there were some continuations of a theme. You know, I think definitely, you know, across the spectrum of a lot of things we cover here on Sip, Suds, and Smokes are celebrity endorsed products. And I don't think there's been a massive invasion, you know, of celebrity cigars. We covered one, which was the Knucklehead, that was from Guy Fieri.
Knuckle Sandwich.
Knuckle Sandwich, right. I'm sorry. Thank you. And I just don't see a whole lot of those coming into this space,
Well, we did one with we did one with
Escobar.
Well, Escobar did one, but then
With
we
an
also
Oz,
did
yeah.
one with what's that? Not Camacho. Starts with a C.
Carrillo?
No, it's one of the.
Well, anyway,
drawing.
I think my point is
right now.
that I just don't. It's been a trickle, and I think it's going to stay like that. I'm expecting, a lot of continuation of really high quality products that are DR based. I really think that, that seems to have the hot hand of innovation right now. Are a lot of tobaccos that are, sourcing out of.
Cohiba. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks.
Squirrel.
4 hours later.
Yeah, no, I tell you, come to me, man. I'm sorry. Yes, I agree with what you're saying.
Well, I'm sorry. What were we talking about?
You were talking about the state of cigars and how interesting it's feeling. It's
Yeah, I
seeing
appreciate that.
There's not
Catch
a whole
up.
lot of celebrity. There's not a whole lot of celebrity intertwining, but I think if you really take a look, there's a decent amount, but it's not as heavy as you think. Not as much as the spirits realm or the beer realm or any other realm that we cover.
I think the flood is going to continue for, Puro products that are all the way, sourced from Nicaragua across the board. And I just don't know if you can look at that approach and say, is the 47th product that is coming, that is a Puro across the board, is it really going to stand out, in the humidor? I just feel like that space is just packed, and every time I pick one up, I go, oh, okay, so what's going to be different about this one than the other 46 that I've had,
I love Puros, man. I think so. I mean, maybe
He's spicy.
Well, our palates are a little different. I like certain things you don't like, and so I pick up on some nuances from Puro standpoints, like elevated in soil, like where it's grown, what region it's from, like it makes the difference, and it's subtle, but the same could be said for bourbon. It's you could put the same ingredients in the same type of still in two different places, and it come out different. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's also from there too. The thing that really also drives that Puro, engine is tobacco is terroir driven, right? It depends on elevation and rainfall and soil composition, and so all of these factors are going to change, year over year, depending on what's happening in those regions. And then, then they have to go to be, fermented, right? And then they've got to spend time, mellowing out and becoming the things that, are finally rolled up and we enjoy. And so it's also something that you can, if you want to nerd out about it, you can start to deep dive into it. And I think we're seeing, especially some of these, newer brands, like you were talking about the Natura, being a little bit more transparent about, exactly what's happening. There's a couple of cool, documentary situations on YouTube where you get to go behind the scenes at, Davidoff, fields and see these things, come from seed to shop, which I think is incredible. But even then, blending is still the spice of life, and to have the opportunity, to pull things from different regions, even though they may, really thrive in one region versus the other, is the journey to get to all of those complexities that you're trying to nail down when you're smoking a cigar, if you're trying to get into the weeds about it. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with all of that.
flavor distinct. You can tell lots of different things just by, where something's growing and how it's coming out,
I think the big question mark for me is what is going to happen with the Cubano market with massive change in administration and approaches on tariffs in the U.S. market. And even if those things were to change and alter the landscape, would they choose to distribute to the U.S. because they're just sending the vast majority of those products from Cuba to China, and so many other parts of the world are just not being able to enjoy those products. And I really wonder if that landscape is going to change and alter. That's a big question mark that I have.
Back when it was opened up where we could go, back and forth, it never changed. In my opinion, I didn't see a big
influx. Correct.
Yeah, I didn't. So it was like, either. I honestly, I see it slowing down almost, and the number of fakes that are being produced right now are outweighing all of the whatever they're producing per year down there anyway. And so most of what people are getting are second rate, floor cigars with a Cuban wrapper on it or a Cuban label and packaging. And it's just like, it's so hard to even realize they're making the fakes so good now that you have to know to be able to tell.
Well, and I think the big thing that's entering this space is bang for buck. And I would say that even if you were to alter and change the distribution lines or the tariff, control elements that are in place right now, would they even approach to have bang for buck that would be on par? I mean, I absolutely would have that Aventura cigar all day long over the vast majority of Cubans that I've had.
Oh, 100%. I would definitely take a Dominican, Nicaraguan over Cubans, and people give them to me all the time, and I'm like, cool, thanks, and I'll just put it in my humidor and smoke something else.
Yeah. We all do that, quite a bit.
Yeah, and so it's just like I'll give them to somebody for a Christmas gift if they want. I've never had this. Well, here, just take that one. Merry Christmas. But I mean, honestly,
don't touch my Boliviers.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, leave those alone. But like
the ones that say Finca aren't for you.
Yeah, right. That's right.
No touchy.
But like, if I'm gonna, day to day smoke cigars, I'm gonna smoke something I like something from Crown Heads or Wildfire or Foundation or, Jake Wyatt or somebody. Even the Aventura stuff. I'd rather smoke something that I know. One, I'm going to enjoy the flavor and taste of, and two, it's going to be consistent. And that's really where it gets me, is that if you can get a consistent product and you can do, you can make your point across without having to, one, break the bank, or two, copy what someone else is doing, then you got me,
Sounds like a pretty well sought after American whiskey brand.
Yeah. Which one would that be?
A lot of hype for, some things that you can pick up on a more consistent basis. Oh yeah,
Does it rhyme with damn tinkle?
Our homies at the Sazerac house, man.
Yeah. You mean the Lord and Saviors of the bourbon world?
Buy Fireball, folks. Buy Fireball.
That's right. That's right.
I personally like the barrel pick Fireballs.
Yeah. So what are you guys looking forward to next year?
I would just love a better measure of innovation. I love the fact that there were so many products here, even on our best of, that were brand new products that were introduced, but it felt like a trickle, at the end of the day. And I just, is this a shockwave on lack of demand, in the base of consumers? The onslaught of regulations to consume and enjoy cigars in restaurants and bars. And, it's just, has just been attacked at every waking moment. And, are we still going to be relegated to private clubs and, having to always go outside, or something else? And I would like to think that there are a lot of things that can be done, in accessibility and enjoyment and innovation in new products.
Yeah. And I definitely agree with you on the, all the litigation and stuff needs to just calm down. Like we're not trying to tell you guys what you can and can't do. We're just trying to have our freedoms, right?
Until it moves in my space.
Yeah, that's right. So it moves in your space. Just, we want to smoke cigars and hang out. And being so limited in locations where you can do that is really troubling as well, even for the industry.
Well, I'll throw out a topic that I think is worthy of our best of episode here is, do you think that THC products are displacing market share for cigars?
Well, that's absolutely they are, because you've got younger generations going towards those products instead of quality tobacco.
So they're going straight from Swisher Sweets directly to THC. So
yeah, well, they're putting the regulated THC in the Swisher Sweets.
Well, and I think another piece to that puzzle is, consumption of alcohol is down in that demographic also, right? Like,
yeah, it is.
And where,
because they're smoking more weed.
That handshake, kind of happens is between, a glass of wine or a whiskey or rum, so kind of iconically, if you will, with a cigar, you don't get stoned and then go, man, I'd really like to, spend $40 on this Nicaraguan Puro, and sit here and try to smoke this thing for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
I'm going to say that's effect versus experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference between that choice. And I think as a consumer, I will choose experience, first. And that is probably a component of age, as well.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I here's the thing though. I'm a purveyor of all things, as we know. I dabbled in the THC and I love my cigars, but those two things can coexist.
I like feeling my feet.
Right. Yeah. We'll save that on I can't swing my golf club for today. But no, I think with all things there's a moderation for sure. But those two things can coexist and they can coexist well. And I think that there is a demographic for that, and we are that demographic. I guess my generation would be the demographic that can weave those two things together. And it's up to us to educate the people that are coming into being able to smoke tobacco now and being able to do these things now and to point them in the right direction,
I mean, but is it a good thing to weave those two together, right? I mean, I think that as stringent as, a lot of the legislation is on premium tobacco, I think it especially in our region of the world, tends to be just as much, if not more stringent on, THC derived products.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when you get into that, bang for buck and you talk about it from an effect, perspective, do I want to spend $20 to get stoned, or do I want to spend $20 to have a nice, leisurely hour smoke?
Well, why can't I spend $10 and $10?
Good luck with that.
Yeah, you do whatever you want to with that money.
You can listen to our $10 blind in our back catalog, and that will help you make a better educated decision.
All right. Well, let's wrap up for today, Burger.
Yeah, man. I'd like to thank both of you guys for being here. Good old boy Mike, thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for joining us for this best of discussion. Come back and enjoy another great episode of Sip, Suds, and Smokes. We have a really good back catalog, and I'll ask you to keep on sipping.
And good old boy Benjamin.
Dude, it's been a great, full calendar year with the Sip, Suds, and Smokes cast and hanging out with you guys and really getting to dive into something that was just more of a leisurely hobby that's turned into a really cool passion. And I can't be more of a proponent of people not only checking us out and forming their own opinion with all of the rants and side conversations we get into, but I look forward to 2025 and continuing to hang out with you awesome dudes. And as always, man, smoke them if you got them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and definitely thank you guys for listening, and thank you all the brands that have been a part of our catalog this year of season 12. Hats off to all of you. You've all done a great job and making quality, good cigars for this year. And we look forward to smoking a lot with you this next coming year at PCA, getting a handshake and get in y'all's faces and tell you what we don't like, and I'm sure you guys are going to love that too. But, as for every day, I always say, keep on smoking no matter what it is. And we're going to sign off. And we hope you all have a good evening.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're listening to us online, do yourself a favor and tap
it in.
The subscribe button.
Give it a little tappy. Tap, tap, tap-a-roo.
The easiest way to listen to our show is to ask Siri, Alexa, Google, Uncle Larry, or whoever it is that talks to you on your phone. Play podcast Sip, Suds, and Smokes. We love your feedback, and you can reach us at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com. Our tasting notes flow out on Twitter and Instagram with our handle @SipSudsAndSmokes, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. You'll also be able to interact with the thousands,
Millions and millions
of other fans on those social media platforms. Do us a favor. Take the time to rate this episode if you're listening to us online. That's a big help to us, and we get to see your feedback as well. Come back, join us for another episode, and keep on sipping.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sip, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see you all next time.